Good morning, this is the Paradise Unicorn Priestess bringing you day 260 of A Course in Miracles, the Yin translation, where we use female words. This would be September 17th if you're starting at the new year. The simplicity of salvation. How simple is salvation? All it says is what was never true is not true now and never will be. The impossible has not occurred and can have no effects. And that is all. Can this be hard to learn by anyone who wants it to be true? Only unwillingness to learn it could make such an easy lesson difficult. How hard is it to see that what is false cannot be true, and what is true cannot be false? You can no longer say that you perceive no differences in false and true. You have been told exactly how to tell one from the other, and just what to do if you become confused. Why then do you persist in learning not such simple things? There is a reason, but confuse it not with difficulty in the simple things salvation asks you to learn. It teaches but the very obvious. It merely goes from one apparent lesson to the next, in easy steps that lead you gently from one to another, with no strain at all. This cannot be confusing, yet you are confused. For somehow you believe that what is totally confused is easier to learn and understand. What you have taught yourself is such a giant learning feat, it is indeed incredible. But you accomplished it because you wanted to, and did not pause in diligence to judge it hard to learn or too complex to grasp. No one who understands what you have learned, how carefully you learned it, and the pains to which you went to practice and repeat the lessons endlessly, in every form you could conceive of them, could ever doubt the power of your learning skill. There is no greater power in the world. The world was made by it, and even now depends on nothing else. The lessons you have taught yourself have been so overlearned and fixed, they rise like heavy curtains to obscure the simple and the obvious. Say not you cannot learn them, for your power to learn is strong enough to teach you that your will is not your own, your thoughts do not belong to you, and even you are someone else. Who could maintain that lessons such as these are easy? Yet you have learned more than this. You have continued, taking every step, however difficult, without complaint, until a world was built that suited you, and every lesson that makes up the world arises from the first accomplishment of learning, an enormity so great the Holy Spirit's voice seems small and still before its magnitude. The world began with one strange lesson powerful enough to render God forgotten and her child an alien to herself, in exile from the home where God herself established her. You who have taught yourself, the child of God is guilty. Say not that you cannot learn the simple things salvation teaches you. Learning is an ability you made and gave yourself. It was not made to do the will of God, but to uphold a wish that it could be opposed, and that a will apart from it was yet more real than it. And this has learning sought to demonstrate, and you have learned what it was made to teach. Now does your ancient overlearning stand implacable before the voice of truth, and teach you that its lessons are not true, too hard to learn, too difficult to see, and too opposed to what is really true. Yet you will learn them, for their learning is the only purpose for your learning skill the Holy Spirit sees in all the world. Her simple lessons in forgiveness have a power mightier than yours because they call from God and from yourself to you. Is this a little voice so small and still it cannot rise above the senseless noise of sounds that have no meaning? God will not her child forget her, and the power of her will is in the voice that speaks for her. Which lesson will you learn? What outcome is inevitable, sure as God, and far beyond all doubt and question? Can it be your little learning, strange in outcome and incredible in difficulty, will withstand the simple lessons being taught to you in every moment of every day since time began and learning had been made? The lessons to be learned are only two. Each has its outcome in a different world, and each world follows surely from its source. The certain outcome of the lesson that God's child is guilty is the world you see. It is a world of terror and despair, nor is there hope of happiness in it. There is no plan for safety you can make that will ever succeed. There is no joy that you can seek for here and hope to find. Yet this is not the only outcome which your learning can produce. However much you may have overlearned your chosen task, the lesson that reflects the love of God is stronger still, and you will learn God's child is innocent and see another world. The outcome of the lesson that God's child is guiltless is a world in which there is no fear, and everything is lit with hope and sparkles with a gentle friendliness. Nothing but calls to you in soft appeal to be your friend and let it join with you. And never does a call remain unheard, misunderstood, nor left unanswered in the selfsame tongue in which the call was made. And you will understand it was this call that everyone and everything within the world has always made, but you had not perceived it as it was. And now you see you were mistaken. You had been deceived by forms the call was hidden in, and so you did not hear it, and had lost a friend who always wanted to be part of you. The soft, eternal calling of each part of God's creation to the whole is heard throughout the world, this second lesson brings. There is no living thing that does not share the universal will that it be whole, and that you do not leave its call unheard. Without your answer is it left to die, as it is saved from death when you have heard its calling as the ancient call to life, and understood that it is but your own. The Christ in you remembers God with all the certainty with which she knows her love, but only if her child is innocent can she be love. For God were fear indeed if she whom she created innocent could be a slave to guilt. God's perfect child remembers her creation, but in guilt she has forgotten what she really is. The fear of God results as surely from the lesson that her child is guilty as God's love must be remembered when she learns her innocence. For hate must mother fear and look upon its mother as itself. How wrong are you who fail to hear the call that echoes past each seeming call to death, that sings behind each murderous attack and pleads that love restore the dying world. You do not understand who calls to you beyond each form of hate, each call to war. Yet you will recognize her as you give her answer in the language that she calls. She will appear when you have answered her, and you will know in her that God is love. What is temptation but a wish to make the wrong decision on what you would learn and have an outcome that you do not want? It is the recognition that it is a state of mind unwanted that becomes the means whereby the choice is reassessed, another outcome seen to be preferred. You are deceived if you believe you want disaster and disunity and pain. Hear not the call for this within yourself, but listen rather to the deeper call beyond it that appeals for peace and joy. And all the world will give you joy and peace. For as you hear, you answer. And behold, your answer is the proof of what you learned. Its outcome is the world you look upon. Let us be still an instant and forget all things we ever learned, all thoughts we had, and every preconception that we hold of what things mean and what their purpose is. Let us remember not our own ideas of what the world is for. We do not know. Let every image held of everyone be loosened from our minds and swept away. Be innocent of judgment, unaware of any thoughts of evil or of good that ever crossed your mind of anyone. Now do you know her not, but you are free to learn of her and learn of her anew. Now is she born again to you, and you are born again to her, without the past that sentenced her to die, and you with her. Now is she free to live as you are free, because an ancient learning passed away and left a place for truth to be reborn. Today's text reading is a another big picture look at the whole grand play of this dream illusion, its origin, and its continued propagation into complexity. No one could doubt that the universe and the things we find in it are complex. And we are told repeatedly by the Course that reality is simple and unchanging. And we are told that this is not difficult to learn. Indeed, it is not difficult, but we are in great resistance to it. We want the complexity. We want the changeability. We want the variation. We want it on our terms. And the Course says that we cannot have, not unless we are willing to perceive that the entire thing is but a dream illusion and meaningless, and have our only game be forgiveness, understanding that we cannot attack any part of the creation without attacking ourselves and causing ourselves pain. The Course is asking us to take a pathway that gives up pain by giving up attack and judgment. But in order to do that, we do have to have a completely open mind. We are nearing the end of the text of A Course in Miracles, and there will be some smaller supplementary channeled materials that will be part of this podcast, although we will run out of them before the year is finished, and then we will be left to lessons only for the last part of the year. In the Manual for Teachers, where we are told of the traits that a teacher of God has, the last one listed is open-mindedness, and that is very well described in today's lesson, where it asks us to forget everything that we've learned, to keep our mind an open slate on which love can paint its beautiful picture. We are not ready to be without form yet. The Holy Spirit understands this. We are not being asked to give up form. We're only being asked to proactively wrap our minds around that none of it's real. And in exchange, love will continue to give us form, yes, but form that is delightful and beautiful, not just for us, but for everyone, because that is how it must be. We are one, and if the illusion contains any unpleasantness for any part of the illusion, it is done to us personally. We will feel it on some level, though we try to hide it from ourselves. We were told in a previous text reading that we made faith, and we made it for the purpose of allowing ourselves to believe in the illusion that we created. Faith was not created by God, but we are reminded repeatedly throughout the Course that absolutely everything we made can be repurposed for the purposes of love. The Holy Spirit is the one who does this. So we have come to use the word faith to only refer to things that are of a loving purpose and point us in the direction of the eternal, changeless, loving reality that we are currently not in touch with because we are so blinded by the illusion and have completely forgotten it. All right, in addition to that, today's text reading told us that learning also was not created by God. Again, it is something we created ourselves in order to wrap ourselves deeper and deeper into the illusion, because again, we were fleeing into the illusion because we thought we had created the separation, which we did not. We only thought we did. So, faith we made, having a special relationship with one special other person, we made that up, and learning, we made that up. There's a whole bunch of things we made. All of them can be repurposed for love, if we let them be used for forgiveness. Many times the Course tells us that not only is our return home absolutely possible, it is inevitable. In fact, it is already done. We're just living in the past. We will be assimilated. Resistance is futile. Yeah, we're already home anyway. We're just watching the past like we're watching a movie. It doesn't seem that way. It seems like we're stuck in it. But we're invited to consider that the truth is that we are safe at home and we're just watching the movie of our lives. This is your life. In essence, the miracle allows us to watch the version of the movie that is the good parts version, the happy montage, in case we don't want to go through the whole long, slow slog of our own resistance. Today's text reading tells us that this call from God, from love, from the Holy Spirit, has been going on every single day since time began without ceasing. The only other variable is our resistance, our willingness to listen to the call. How quickly are we willing to listen and hearken and follow it? I love how it describes how in the world we see when we choose forgiveness, everything calls to us to be our friend. And it makes me think of near-death experiences I've heard of, where the soul who is in a beautiful place, in the midst of deciding whether or not they will return to the incarnation, they are often surrounded by things like grass and trees and flowers that speak to them and interact with them and radiate love and intelligence. This is a world that is constantly calling out to be your friend and to join with you. This is a world of love. This is a world we would so love to be with, and is just waiting for us to be willing to give up attack and judgment forever, to hold an open mind, and be willing to ask for help from heaven in forgiving everything that crosses our path. The text reading says, "What is temptation but the wish to learn the wrong lesson, the wish to choose not paradise, the wish to choose a painful, complex, terrifying world." Temptation entices us to judge and attack our sister, that is all, or to judge and attack ourselves, but it is really one and the same. And interestingly, it says that an important part of our growth on our pathway home is realizing that when we have given in to temptation, where we are attacking and judging and criticizing either ourself or something we think of as not ourself, that we realize that we don't like the result. So we reassess. Huge progress when we reach that point. Today is our last day to review what is sin, found in the show notes. Then we go on to lesson 260. Let me remember God created me. Mother, I did not make myself, although in my insanity I thought I did. As your thought, I have not left my source, remaining part of who created me. Your child, my mother, calls on you today. Let me remember you created me. Let me remember my identity, and let my sinlessness arise again before Christ's vision, through which I would look upon my sisters and myself today. Now is our source remembered, and therein we find our true identity at last. Holy indeed are we, because our source can know no sin, and we, who are her children, are like each other and alike to her. That is our lesson for today. Happy practicing.